Okay, so it's been like a year and a half, maybe more if I've miscalculated, but like it's been a minute since I did a book review. I've only done one. I'm acting like I've done multiple, but like I'm gonna do another one. I started reading this. It's like just a collection of like short stories. Or like they're not really short stories, they're kind of long, but like anyway, it's Leo Tolstoy, and like I had not read I had not read any of his work before. I started it an embarrassingly long time ago. Like I read the Kreutzer Sonata, which is like the main story in here, over a year ago, when the pandemic started. Actually, no, maybe I got to that one around just like a year ago. But anyway, I just like didn't get around to finishing like I finished the Kreutzer Sonata back then, but like I didn't start any of the other short stories because like the Kreutzer Sonata was like heavy. So like it's not like terrible to comprehend, but it's like heavy. So I just didn't want to like dive right into some new heavy shit. Exactly. I read some YA novels for a bit, which also I was gonna review and then I never did. But anyway, I'm here, I'm doing it. So that probably came off so aggressive, I'm sorry. I want to be doing this, I swear. I'm just frustrated with myself here. This has like 4 stories in it. It has the Kreutzer Sonata, the Devil, the Forged Coupon, and After the Ball, I think is what the last, yes, After the Ball is the last one. And then also it has like some other stuff, like has like a postface to the Kreutzer Sonata, which I thought was very helpful. I didn't read it until recently. Like I didn't read it the first time I read the Kreutzer Sonata. Yeah. I also really like introductions. I don't know if you guys read introductions, but like I fucking love them. But yeah, anyway. So the Kreutzer Sonata, I'm gonna like review all of these except for After the Ball, just because it was super short and like it didn't have any like significant, like I'll talk about it like a little bit, maybe. We'll see if I remember to do that. But it was just really short. Like it wasn't as like impactful as the other ones, I guess. So yeah, the Kreutzer Sonata also, the review is going to be like brief and not super in-depth because like I read it a year ago and like I'm not rereading it. So I just like went over the notes that I took when I read it, and then like that's basically it. So anyway, here you go. I wrote my notes in like such a bizarre order. Like I did like themes first, symbols, synopsis, like synopsis third, and then significant notes, which I don't even know why I wrote down notes because like they're in the book. I could just write down the page number. Also, I can't pronounce like any of these names properly, so I will do my best. Okay, so Pozdnichev, Pozdnichev recalls the story of how he murdered his wife and lost his children, obviously, to some guy on a train. Well, no, he didn't lose his children to the guy on the train. He's just like telling the story of how he, you know, did all that to this guy on the train. And also like some other people that he just like chooses to harass. Like he just tells them about it too. But like, I don't know, he's a weirdo. It goes over the same themes a lot. So like sexuality, Christianity, paranoia, the morality of sexuality, sexuality as an illness, kind of like perversion, lust, and the slavery of women, which you'll understand why I'm putting that under air quotations in a minute, but like, oh god. Yeah, also music as like a communication that's like more subtle than we realize. I don't know how to like explain that exactly, but like music as a signal, kind of. Yeah, and then like lust and temptation. Yeah. Yeah, so those are like the themes that are generally in it. It's like his wife. Oh wait, I forgot to finish reading the synopsis. I'm so disorganized right now. Okay. Um yeah. So he killed his wife because she had an affair. But like that isn't really like, he was just kind of unhinged. The notes, okay, so like I was still in grade 12 when I was like taking notes on this. And in grade 12 I was like specifically reading everything from like, I was very interested in like queer and feminist perspectives. So reading like everything with like that in like the center of my mind. So I'm focusing on like everything to do with like the way female characters are treated and like written. If anybody's like queer coded, anything like that. So yeah, that's what most of my notes are about. So immediately I really didn't like the way that he just like talked about women, and it isn't from like a first person perspective, it's like third person. So whenever people like write from third person and like the narrator has like kind of problematic opinions, like I think if it's from first person and they have problematic opinions, whatever. Like that's why like I don't really have a problem with like Catcher in the Rye. I really like it actually. Like yes, Holden is an incel, but like some people are incels. Like that's just a reality, man. Like nobody's saying that he's a good dude. Like he's got issues. Like that's the point of the book. But like there's no third person narrator being like, yeah, right on, Holden, you've got the idea. So do you know what I mean? Like anyway, so yeah, the first thing that I circled in here was like, so fucking what is his name? We're gonna call him like John because like I can't pronounce their names. So the main character guy, John, he is just like talking to this lady on the train and stuff. And they're talking about like marriage and like education, stuff like that. Anyway, she disagreed with him on whatever he was saying, and the narrator's like replying, as many women do, not to the person she was addressing, but not to what the person she was addressing had actually said, but to what she thought he was going to say. And that just came off as like some condescending bullshit, you know what I mean? Like, you had to be like, as women often do, they don't know how to reply to your argument. They're just so fucking stupid. Like, jail. Yeah, my notes in here are just like, I straight up just wrote Tolstoy is a bitch. And then like literally on the next page he's like, still in a hurry to express her opinions, which doubtless seemed brand new to her. Okay. And like, okay, I'll get to this like more later, but like I know Tolstoy doesn't think his main characters are like cool people. Like he knows that they are not doing good things, like murdering people. But the problem is like in his postface for the Kreutzer Sonata, he got into it and everything, and like he doesn't like his characters for like the wrong reasons. Like it's not because like, you know, they murder people, it's because they have like lust. It's because they're horny. Like that's why he thinks his characters are bad, not because they like kill women or anything. Yeah, also he like speaks for women fucking constantly, and it's just like the most irritating shit, because it's like, did you ask a woman? Like, where are you getting this information? Because like you're not one, so maybe like shut the fuck up, you know? Also, like, yes, I'm aware that this was written in like the 1800s. That doesn't mean it's not like messed up. Also, there's like this one part that's just like so ominous, and the woman's like, if she doesn't love him, because they're talking about like arranged marriage or something, and then making a grimace with his lips and eyebrows, he says, she'd better love him. Like, that didn't come off as like scary the way that I read it, but like it didn't feel right, you know? Like, what do you mean she better love him? Like, what do you mean? And then there's like another quotation that's just like, Yes, you have to rein them in early on, those women folk. Otherwise, it all goes to pot. Why can't I like recite lines that I literally have in front of me without messing them up? Like, what's up with that, brain? Honestly, all of my notes for that one are like kind of the same. It's just like, this is fucked up. So I don't really like dislike his writing style. A lot of the time I am not super fond of like old like classic novels written by men. I just like, I don't know, like so far every single like classic I've read that was written by a man has like there's so much time dedicated to describing the tits of like every female character, and it's just like, even when it's like not relevant whatsoever, everything is written and it's like very like male gaze-y, which, like, you know, I can deal with in moderation. Oh my god, my fucking vertigo, what the hell? My head, it feels like there's bees in my head. Okay, that was so random. Did I forget to breathe for a while? Okay, oxygen. Okay. Does that ever happen to you? You just like randomly are like, you're fine, and then all of a sudden it's just like bees in your head? Please, someone tell me that you get that also. I am going to move on to the next story because, like, honestly, I don't have much to say about the Kreutzer Sonata that isn't going to get covered later. Yeah, I mean, I would recommend reading it just because, like, it is, if you're someone who can deal with, like, being infuriated, yeah, I'd recommend it just for the sake of telling people that you've read it. For the devil, I kind of forget this. I literally read this like 2 days ago and I kind of forget the plot. I basically wrote out like a very long like synopsis. What's the word for, like, it's not a synopsis. What is the word? It's not abbreviation. Why don't I know this? I'm literally going into creative writing and I can't think of this fucking word. Anyway, I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Like a shorter version of a story, like an explanation for what happens. Okay, so Yevgeny Urtinev, that's the name. I probably am not saying it right. But yeah, Yevgeny Urtinev, a well-liked and stable young man, is horny. So he hooks up with this peasant girl, Stepanida, even though he thought he was kind of above that. But he believes that like sex is a valid medical need for him. So like she doesn't catch feelings as far as we can tell. Like there's no reason to believe that she has got feelings, but he very much does catch feelings. Like honestly, Stephanie is pretty cool. Like would be friends with her. But eventually he cuts it off because, like, you know, she's like not like loaded and all that. So like it would not do good things for his status to like marry her. So he like cuts it off with her, and then he meets this girl, what is her name? Liza Anenskaya. Liza Anenskaya. Yeah, so he believes that he's fallen in love with her and he marries her. They're happy for about a year until Stepanida starts like working on the property that like Yevgeny Urtinev, our main guy here, he lives there. So he's like, spicy stuff, you know? He basically like goes crazy over it. Like he just starts like obsessing about her like sexually, and cannot stop fantasizing about her. It's really taking like a toll on his marriage and like his family and just life ability to function in general. So there's like a few times where he like actually was like, oh shit, I actually would have cheated had I had a good opportunity there. Like this needs to end. So he tries to get like Stephanie to like moved away. It doesn't work. Everyone's like, this is fucking ridiculous, just like get over it. I do think that it's very like selfish of him. Like it's very kind of like misogynistic for him to be like, it's his problem, but he's like, I'm gonna get Stepanida removed from the property. Like, no, just move. you move, bitch. Like, it's your problem, so you leave. Like, anyway, he goes like super crazy. He knows he can't like get rid of her. And then this leads to, okay, so there's two endings. The first ending, he is like, Stepanida is the devil. That's like why it's called the devil, because like he thinks that she is like causing all of his problems right now. But then he's like, oh, I should have married her, like she's the one I'm really in love with. I mean, fucked up version of love, but like, okay, chief. Yeah, so he is like, I could shoot her. But then he's like, that isn't quite right, which very glad he was able to, you know, come to the conclusion that that wasn't it. So instead, well, I mean, he does think about killing Liza because he's like, well, I gotta get rid of one of them. And then he realizes, I can, you know, I can off myself. So, and honestly, I agree. Like, I think it's okay to like be rooting for your character to kill themselves under certain circumstances because this man really is insane. It's better to off yourself before you can hurt somebody else. I mean like, don't take that as real advice. Like, just like call a help center. But like, this is like the 1800s in like, I'm pretty sure Russia or something. So, okay. And then the second ending, I don't even remember if I finished telling the first ending. Anyway, so he kills himself and then like doctors are like, oh well, he was mentally ill. And then Tolstoy is like, but was he mentally ill though? And I'm just like, yes, he clearly was, Tolstoy. Like, I don't know what you're getting at here. So anyway, the second ending, he is like, you know what, I'm just gonna like take a walk, keep my cool. But he like brings the gun and then he like goes to Stepanida anyways and is like so sexually provoked by her that he shoots her and kills her. Was that necessary? Was it necessary? So he like obviously goes to jail. I forget if he like dies in the end or what. I think he does. In both situations, his family is abandoned. Yeah. So for symbols, I have the devil is like the only symbol like I could really think of. I haven't been really like doing like English work recently because I was not studying English this year. But yeah, I think like the devil as a symbol works because like, I mean, it's like called the devil, and also like he believes that Stepanida, she represents like his sin, and also like he uses this to justify killing her. Like right before he killed her, she's like, he's like, she's the devil. I'm not gonna recite exactly what he said, but it was like, you know, like, she's the devil, and he shoots her. So, and then themes, it's a lot of the same stuff from the Kreutzer Sonata. I picked up on more like classism type stuff. Like him, you know, like the whole reason he didn't marry Stepanida is because of like class and everything. Yeah, I do kind of vaguely think that maybe Tolstoy isn't completely wrong about everything. He does have some like, you know, maybe good ideas if I'm interpreting things the way that he intended. Maybe some valid ideas about like class and like government. But anyway, it's like themes: sexual temptation, love versus lust, responsibility, what it means to be insane, like what, yeah, like Tolstoy kind of writes him like he isn't crazy. Like Tolstoy as a narrator seems to think that he's not crazy, which I find highly inaccurate. But anyways, other themes: loyalty, death, just because there's so much. Like he loves violently killing a female character. He's really all about it. Debauchery, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but like debauchery in society, and Christianity again. So all of these are very much about Christianity. Like he's like heavily Christian. Like in his post face, he was just talking about like, I love Jesus so much. Character profiles. So I only took character profiles for Stepanida, Liza, and Yevgeny. Fucking, I don't know how to say it. But anyway, so for Stepanida, I just wrote like carefree. She honestly seems kind of sex positive, and I have a quote for this. Page 130. They're like hooking up. Also, Stepanida has a husband, but like he's like a soldier, so like he's not like around so much. So anyway, Yevgeny is like, well, how is it you can make love to me like this? And then she says, oh, that, she said, full of high spirits. I'm pretty sure he gets his fun over there, referring to her husband. Why shouldn't I have mine too? Yes, bitch, I agree. She just like doesn't cause trouble. Like, she just fucking keeps to herself. She's down for a good time. Not problematic. I like this lady. And then Liza, she's very much like a people pleaser, which I'll like pull up some like notes for. She's like extremely loving, like very, very like affectionate. Like she just fucking loves Yevgeny so much. Yevgeny, fucking, we'll call him Yev from now on. He's Yev. So I have notes from page 133. This can't be right. Oh, I meant 142. Okay. She would travel along with him, and then they would have a particularly happy time. On their name days, they would have guests to the house. They would derive pleasure from her talent for seeing that everyone had an enjoyable time. Like, that's just her being like, you know, people pleaser. And then like on the same page, skip down a bit, there's a line that's like, her only desire was to carry out his wishes obediently. For Yev, we're just calling him Yev, okay. For Yev, he's like, he was born into like high-ish status, used to like general privilege. It talks about him just being like an attractive person, well educated, so like he, you know, he was dealt a pretty decent hand in life. I think he's super selfish, like really selfish. He wants to be a good person because he's like a good Christian, and like, anyway, I wrote down mentally unstable. I don't think he was supposed to be written that way, but I can assure you he's mentally unstable. I also wrote fuckboy because Stepanida gets pregnant at some point, and then he's like, not my problem. Basically, like, he's like, I don't owe anyone anything, like, my marriage is my priority. And it's like, you may have put a baby in someone, sir, like, not your responsibility. I wrote down irresponsible. I think this is like the truest, because like, he abandons all of his problems. He abandons this child who could potentially be his. In the first ending, he literally just like offs himself. He abandons like his whole, like, all of his responsibilities to his family. Like, he doesn't even really try to work through it anymore. He just like is like, bye. In the second ending, he literally just kills Stepanida because he thinks that she's the problem. Like, he sees her as his problems, and he just shoots it. Like, that's like caveman logic. Like, you can't just beat everything to death that you know, are having a little bit of difficulty with. That's like everything I'm gonna go over for that story, because I feel like this video is gonna be so long, like I might not even be able to upload it properly. So I'm gonna go on to The Forged Coupon. This was my favorite story out of all of them. It was like the least demeaning towards women, and it actually had two female characters who were like, one of them actually kind of a strong female character. The other one started off as a strong female character of color, actually, and then they, you know, made her a murderer and then killed her. So can't say that was the most feminist thing ever, but like, Anyway. So my synopsis for the forged coupon. This is a very rough synopsis, like, or summary. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Summary. Oh my god. Okay, anyway. It's a very rough summary because I can't, there's so many names in this, and he reuses, like, Tolstoy just keeps, like, reusing the same names for his stories, and I'm like, stop it, sir. Like, this is so confusing. Like, I can't pronounce them in the first place. Like, please, enough. Pretty much, this kid forges a coupon because he owes his friends a couple bucks and can't find the money on time. This causes, like, a snowball effect of each person ending up, like, with the coupon. Like, he passes off to, like, one person, she's like, she realizes it's forged after a while, and she's like, shit, gotta get rid of it now. So they give it to someone else, and, like, you know, and that just keeps happening. Each person is just trying to get rid of it until one of them is caught and then goes to jail, loses his wits in there, drives further into crime when he comes out, which affects, like, everyone around. Like, you know, like, when there's just more crime, like, crime raises crime, but, like, also prison raises crime. It's a vicious cycle. Yeah, so it's just, like, him committing crimes, which causes other people trauma, and then their trauma causes more crime, and it's just trauma causing trauma, until, like, a bunch of people go to jail, a bunch more people get murdered. It's like the fucking wild ass west out there. There's this one character, Stepan, who was definitely a psychopath to begin with. But anyways, he killed a guy for stealing, didn't really feel any remorse about it, went to prison, of course, became more aggressive in prison because that's what prison does. And then when he got out, he straight up just became a serial killer. Like, he just started killing people until he robs and, like, murders this, like, one lady who, right before she died, she was like, you can't do this, you think you're hurting others, but really you're hurting yourself. And, like, that just, like, provoked something in him, and, like, obviously he, like, slit her throat because, like, he wasn't pleased about it. Yeah, he wasn't really like, well, I'm just gonna turn myself around now then. But yeah, anyway, she, like, got kind of Christian on him and stuff, and, like, then he, like, started all of a sudden feeling remorse. Like, just all of a sudden he experienced guilt for the first time. And then he, like, turned himself in. He kind of, like, just got super depressed in prison. Like, he wasn't trying to, like, escape at all. Like, before, he wasn't being problematic. He was just like, let me die. He tries to kill himself, and then eventually he meets, like, two other people who are also part of the story, like, other characters in the story. It's like all of these characters, it's like a snowball effect that involves all these different characters that seem unrelated, and then they all come together in the end. And I think that is really interesting, but it's so hard to describe to you. Like, just so much happens, and, like, the names are so confusing. But yeah, so he meets them, and one of them is, like, into Bible shit, so it's kind of like his Bible study group. And, like, this one guy interprets the Bible in a way that he, like, Stepan has never been exposed to, and he finds it very interesting, and he really likes it. Like, he, you know, comes to the conclusion that, like, we're all brothers. Like, treat everyone as if you're brother. Like, you should love everyone, and even if you've done wrong, it doesn't mean that you have to, like, keep doing wrong. Like, you can choose to do right. Like, you're still going to hell, but it's better to live doing things right. That's, like, basically the conclusion he comes to. So I wrote, so back to the, like, the lady who got killed, who was like, you can't do this. I wrote, she got very Christian on him, so he sort of had a different flavor of mental breakdown. As a result, turned himself in, met this Bible guy in prison, and got super into Jesus. Learned how to read. Yeah, okay, so he learned how to read in prison. And then he basically became, like, the prison pastor. Like, he, like, started a movement in the prison of, like, let's be good. It's a weird story, but, like, anyways, I liked it. It was, yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, and then in the end, the kid's like grown up at this point. Like there's so many years have gone by through this whole plot. He receives a letter with 100, I don't even know where I'm reading from, 100 rebels in it. And the letter reads, "The Gospels tell us to render good for evil. You caused me a lot of trouble with that coupon and a lot of trouble to that Muzik," who's like a guy who like, you know, got screwed over by this whole coupon situation. But I feel sorry for you. Here's 400 for you, and oh wait, this 400? I thought this was 100. Anyway, okay. Here's 400 for you, and remember your old yard keeper, Vasily. So, Vasily's just a character. There's just this chain of horrible events that just come from like this little coupon being forged for like 3 rebels. And then like the reason things escalate so much is because of like the law and because of prison. Like the original reason, like I think Tolstoy is trying to argue that like this kid sinned and it's all his fault, but like no, really, the situation wasn't that bad until the police got involved. And then like this guy who basically ended up with the forged coupon and got caught with it, he, you know, like he was already poor, like he couldn't just afford to like not use it. Like he got burdened with the coupon because someone bought firewood from him, paid with a forged coupon, so he's not going to be like, well, I'm just throwing this out. So he tried to use it, and then, you know, police were like, hey, this isn't real. Yeah, so he went to jail for like an extended period of time, and that's why he like kind of went crazy. Like jail just isn't a good situation, and that is a theme that I don't know if it was like intended by Tolstoy, but I'm very into it. It almost reads like he's like a prison abolitionist, and I'm into that. At the same time, he kind of like, with the character Stepan, he sort of like, Stepan very much does reform himself in prison, so I'm not sure if that's Tolstoy trying to justify prison, or if, I think more likely he's just trying to say like, look what the power of Jesus can do. Like, yeah, like it wasn't really prison that reformed him, it was like he got into religion while he was in prison. Like he just happened to be in prison when that was happening. So yeah, like I think Tolstoy has a good idea about prison not being, you know, a good thing to do. I think the forged coupon was like the most different story out of the whole collection. The final one, what's it called? After the Ball. That one also has like some anti-law enforcement sentiments, which every story is very much like Christianity, yeah, but like he does have some other good ideas. Like even his like ideas about women, he isn't like overtly misogynistic. He is misogynistic, but I don't like, he doesn't think that he is, and not like misogynists think that they're misogynists, but like he thinks that he's saving women from like, okay, so like I mentioned earlier, the slavery of women. What he meant by that is how women are like, they get married and then they're expected to like have sex with their husbands, right? And he thinks that that is like unfair to women, which he seems to think that like all women are asexuals. Like he just seems to think that like women don't have sexual desire, which confuses me because his, like, he writes characters who are female with sexual desire, like Stepanida, she was into it. So like I'm confused. I'm very confused about his thoughts on women. I know that they're problematic, but they're also like very complicated. So like that's just a whole other thing. Like anyway, yeah, like I'm not gonna go into After the Ball because it was just really short, and like I wasn't actively reading it as much as the others. So I do recommend like all of them though, just for the sake of like having read them. They're short, they're easy to comprehend. It, you know, you can be like I read this. I'm so cool. I'm so smart. I don't know. There's like bragging value, like a little bit of bragging value in it, because like any classic that is like short, I'm after that because I want people to think I'm smart without having to like put in too much time and energy. I know this video is like kind of rough, not like the highest quality, not my best note taking, but you know what? It's something. It's something. That's the best I could do today. I do intend to make more of these. I'm reading, I'll go grab it right now actually. Reading this right now. It's just called Her Pretty Face by Robin Harding. I bought it a very long time ago. I've started reading it. I'm like that much through. I started it last night. I can't say I'm the biggest fan, but I do tend to not like books until like they're done. Like, I don't know, that's happened with like a lot of things. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna hopefully do a review on that, and since I've mentioned it in this video, maybe I'll be more accountable and actually hold myself to that. Also, I was gonna review Dracula before, and then I just like, no, I don't think I'm gonna be doing that anytime soon. I'm like not smart enough to be like that would just be so pretentious for me, an 18-year-old who hasn't really taken a serious English class in a year, to be like, I'm going to review Dracula as if it's not like a classic, very famous novel already, you know? Like, it needs my approval first. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I hope this video was like, I don't know, if you're writing a English paper on it, like the Kreutzer Sonata or something, I hope this helped you, maybe, a little bit. Yeah, anyway, I will ideally return back to this channel sometime in the near future. Until then, goodbye.